And thanks to Twitch and thanks to you guys supporting this, I can do what I like, gaming and role-playing. I love it, and thank you guys a lot. Thank you, Gookie, for the free man. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Let's start reacting, man. Thank you, guys.
This is it. One last push, and we're done. Congratulations. It's a general. Oh?
The Napoleonic Wars. I gotta say, I don't know jack fucking shit. So before we watch this, I wanna react, right? I don't just wanna watch. That would be weird. I wanna talk about what I know. So, in the year 1788, the French Revolution happened. The peasants were kind of mad against the royals, and they fucked them up. 1789. I was fucking close. Hey, holy shit, I was so close. I'm super educated. Let me unban this fucker. Unban. Hello, Mobo. There you go. Hello, Mobo. Jesus Christ, man. I will say there was a revolution. The revolution was very messy and chaotic, and there was a French general called Bonaparte. He was like in Nice. He was in the southeast or some shit. And he also left his people behind. And he used the power vacuum. He went to Paris and he was like, I'm the fucking boss now, you motherfuckers. He then brought order to France and then he really fucked people up a lot. No, before that he got expelled and then he came back and then he fucked everyone up. But then the whole world came together and fucked him up. In a way.
And here comes the rest of the
army. Yeah, he was an artillery
now.
Commander, yeah.
Did you just say the rest of the army?
Literally Hitler? Yeah, literally kind of Hitler, right? But last month, the French president celebrated his death day, right? How long ago does a tyrant have to be gone until you praise him? He's a good version of Hitler. He's just Hitler without the fucking concentration camps, isn't he? Makes you want to know, what would have happened if the Nazis never did the Holocaust? Would the world look at this completely different now? Because I think it wouldn't. I think we wouldn't. I think that, and it's totally okay, I'm not against it. Yeah, don't ban me. I still think that the winning powers, Russia and the Allies, would have still made a certain doctrine and propaganda and indoctrination that Germany is evil and they should fucking, after 2 world wars, make sense, right? You know? Who knows? The Napoleonic Wars.
History is full of great conquerors, many with very impressive origin stories. For example, Alexander the...
Oh, we have to ban someone. The NSDAP is shunned because Jews control the media. Ah, that's a permaban, mate. Jesus. Oy. Bro, I got one.
Great was the son of a king. Julius Caesar came from an aristocratic family that descended from a goddess. Great conquerors don't usually come
that picture
from
was called the Venus by, I forgot the name.
Living on impoverished islands. But as
Donatello?
it just so happens, that is where our story begins.
Corsica.
In the early 18th century, the island of Corsica was a part of the Republic of Genoa until one day Corsica said, hey, we're declaring independence.
Which Paradox game introduces Napoleon? It's EU4, right? The problem is I never really played EU4. I only played EU4 in the early game, right? I never went to middle to late game. You actually have Napoleon in EU4, right? I never even seen that. March of the Eagles too, also.
And it's probably not worth your time to try and stop us. So Genoa said, you're right, it isn't worth their time. Hey France, you want to buy this island? And France said, sure thing. And thus, Corsica became France, just in time for Napoleon to be born French. Many Corsicans didn't appreciate their new conquerors, however, and from an early age,
so in a way, Napoleon is Corsican. Not really French, however, if you think about it.
Embraced his new French overlords,
I mean,
which
what
created
doesn't
some
fucking
tension
matter
between dad and son. Ooh, look at me! I'm dad. I wear powdered wigs and silver-buckled shoes, and I'm a traitor to the Corsican people. Go to your room, Napoleon. No, you go to your room, Dad.
Is that a child picture of Napoleon? One sec. Child picture Napoleon. Probably just some artist who thought of it. Oh, that's a weird fucking dude. Jesus Christ, man. You can't trust that child. Fucking hell, man. Okay.
Okay. On the other hand, Napoleon adored his mother, who was definitely the
just like Hitler,
of the family. And even though
true.
she would punish Napoleon severely, he kind of respected that. But Napoleon's parents wanted the best for their family, and since they were a very minor nobility, they were able to have Napoleon sent off to the shining lights and rat-infested sewage puddles of the big city. Napoleon went to military school in France. Okay, Napoleon, why don't you introduce yourself to your new classmates? Well, I'm Napoleon, and
Back
I
in the
hate
day,
all
there
of
was a
you.
thing called
Your farts
military
smell like
school, right?
cheese,
That doesn't
you
really
can't
exist
pronounce the
anymore.
letter
You go to
R,
normal
all
school and
do
then
is
you
go
go
on
to the
strike,
military.
and you call eggs oofs like a bunch of big dumb idiot dingleberries. Okay. Thanks, Napoleon. I hope you like being bullied. And bullied he was.
Russia
They
still
picked on him
military
for his
schools.
Corsican accent, his family's lack of wealth, and it probably didn't help that he also
What's a
had a bit of
Corsican
a chip
accent, I
on his
wonder?
shoulder. But he could hold his own, and on an average day, might be found dishing out ratatouille sandwiches for breakfast. He spent much of his time alone, and he loved reading about the great conquerors of history. He learned about Julius Caesar, and he wondered if one day he too might have a pizza franchise named after him.
Kind of fucking crazy though. I don't want to celebrate it. I just want to say it's always been very interesting to me how one single human being reaches a certain level of fame. Like, you're a young kid and you're like, I want to take over the world, and you actually fucking do it. Like, what the fuck, man? Again, I don't want to celebrate it. I think it's just really impressive and ultra interesting, man. Fucking crazy, man. Like, look at us, man. We're just a bunch of fucking monkeys, just fucking, ooh, I have the new iPhone. Ooh. These fuckers took over the fucking world, man.
He excelled at math and
They did
geography,
something,
and
you
when he
know?
graduated at
Even
the
if
age
it
of
was bad.
16, he was made second lieutenant in an
But, you know-
artillery regiment. Now, second lieutenant might sound pretty sweet to a screw-up like you, but Napoleon had a little something called ambition. Stonks of it. And he wasn't content
You hear
being
that,
just
Subs?
some junior officer.
I mean, not Subs.
wanted
Oh.
to rise the ranks.
He wanted to-
Unfortunately for him, that would be a little difficult. Well, Napoleon, I've reviewed your application. It's clear you're very skilled and would be a perfect fit for the promotion. And Simeon, you're just about the biggest idiot I've ever seen. Your test results suggest you have the mental aptitude of a senile earthworm, and in the part of the form where you list your experience, you seem to have drawn a picture of a gerbil giving birth to a shoe. But your dad is the Marquis de la Fufayette, so...
Who this? Who this? Wait, oh shit. How do I read donations? Like here? 1 sec, you donated. We have to stop. Whoever donated, you're making 3,000 people wait. I can't read donations, they're bugged. Paula, thank you for the 5. Of course, one of the best generals wasn't technically French. He didn't surrender right away, lol. Also, someone donated $30 2 hours ago. Sorry, I was just so mad at fucking Benelord. Thank you for $30, Sammy, 2 hours ago. If you're still watching, I'm sorry.
You get the job. French society was just too closed off. Positions were handed out based on nobility, not talent, and the young Napoleon probably felt stuck. Wouldn't it be nice if, say, a revolution came along and changed all of that?
Strategic too.
Well,
Tomorrow.
what are the chances? The French Revolution is here. Bastille toppling, head chopping, king popping. The revolution promised to do away with the old social hierarchy and make everyone a little more equal. Napoleon may not have cared much for the violent mobs, but if it meant he could rise the ranks, he was in. He began fighting to defend the revolution. He put down a British-sponsored counter-revolution in Toulon and
Did
got
OverSimplified ever make a video about Hitler? Probably not, but it must be a big thing.
promoted.
Making an
He
animated
put down
video
a
like this about
royalist
Hitler's life
uprising
or
in
some
Paris
shit. I think
and
he
got
did, though.
promoted.
Did he?
And as his military
He did,
prowess
yeah, I
became
remember.
more
I actually reacted
recognized,
to it.
he was
I
even
totally
given
forgot.
his very own army. It was
My question is,
astonishing
thanks for
progress for
what
such
would
a
be the
young
next
man of
video
humble origins,
to attack?
and Napoleon's wildest dreams were coming true. But Napoleon also believed he
watch
could
it, yeah.
increase his social status if he married an older rich lady. And so around this time, Napoleon went on the prowl. However, if some sources are to be believed, he was a verified creep.
Napoleon was so ugly, an overall sickly effect was created by his thinness and yellow complexion. That's a real fucking quote. Jesus.
He reportedly had terrible
He probably was actually not so beautiful, but he always was heroized, and artists that drew him made him look more better. I guess if you read
with
the
women, and
real
most
Napoleon, he
wanted
looks
nothing
much
to do
worse
with
than on the pictures.
Fortunately, he eventually met Josephine, an
Probably.
aging single mother who was deeply in debt and needed stability.
liked the
so she
single
agreed
moms,
to
but
marry
he's a
him
milf
despite
hunter.
finding him intensely disgusting.
Oh.
Napoleon, you dirty dog, you've done it. Unbeknownst to Napoleon, however, Josephine had a bit of a promiscuous reputation. Hey Napoleon, I hear you're marrying Josephine. Boy, she sure is a great kisser. That's right. Hey, wait, what do you mean she's a great kisser? Hey Hugo, you hear Napoleon's marrying Josephine? Wow, she sure is a great kisser. Now hang on just a minute.
She also has an
Everyone,
OnlyFans.
Napoleon's marrying Josephine.
She streams on Twitch.
Wow, she sure is a great kisser. Real good at kissing. Wow, I'm pretty sure I kissed real good. Oh, for goodness sake, is there anyone here who hasn't kissed my wife? Yeah, you. As Napoleon fell madly in love with his new wife, she fell madly in love with a man named Hippolyte. It wouldn't be long, however, before Napoleon...
Look how... Dude, this is truly... I feel very bad about this. I know nothing about this era. Like, all these little lands, I don't know shit about this era. Because I never played video games in this era. It's the EU4 era, right? I never played EU4. I know nothing about this era, man.
...would leave home and go to war.
And now I kind of understand why Napoleon was so successful. His country was united and big. A lot of these countries saw like, oh...
Because while France was having its revolution, tensions in Europe were rising. Hey, Austria, you'll never guess what we just did. What's that, France? I got 2 words for you.
Big, man.
Revolution. We totally just socked it to our monarchy. What? Dude, the rest of us are monarchies. You've just totally threatened the balance of power in Europe.
EU4 ends in 1721. So why did you guys say Napoleon was in EU4? You lied to me?
I mean, holy hell, your queen is... Okay, France, this is pretty awkward. And the rest of Europe is probably itching to give you a wedgie. But you're not ready for a war yet.
I'm gonna ban a fake news guy. Who said EU4 ends in 1721? The long beer. Long beer? One day ban, next time perma ban.
So
sorry, I can't handle your fake news.
It's absolutely crucial.
I wish I could give you a negative VIP. Like you're being branded as a liar.
Now. Preposterous. I declare war. Sacre bleu! So France ended up at war with basically the rest of Europe. And the war of the first...
Like, how did frauds fucking handle that? It's crazy.
First coalition began. At first, France
struggled,
but then they started to do surprisingly well. And in many conquered territories, they began to establish sister republics, exporting their revolutionary ideas across Europe. In 1796, they planned a 3-pronged attack to take Vienna and knock Austria out of the war, with 2 magnificent armies in the north to kick ass, and Napoleon in the south as a bit of a diversion.
We have to actually return to you for man. The fucking American campaign is so much fun. Promise that battle is so much fun right now. In a weird way, the guy who was asking for the Bannerlord sub goal totally changed the meta of the stream. Because I would have just stayed. I didn't even want to play Bannerlord. I didn't feel it. I wanted to just play U4. That guy actually had a lot of
and what a general he proved.
Thank you, Pairotto.
The army he was given were demoralized, lacking equipment, and underpaid. But Napoleon...
Stop pausing? What do you mean? What? Stop pausing? That video makes me want to play Total War Napoleon. Yeah. Okay, one sec, everybody. I have a private message from Wally. I have to read that. Actually, never mind. Shekel perma-banned. Oh, okay. And Hello Mobo says, please, for the sake of my health, I love you so much. I have diabetes. They just banned me again. One less. Oh, okay. Mods, you got this, right?
And
okay.
Galvanized them.
Sorry, anyone else needs a pause? What's going on? All good?
With inspirational speeches, and he took them into Italy. He was outnumbered, and his campaign was partially meant to be a sideshow, but he made it the main show. While the 2 northern armies were being held back, Napoleon made staggering progress. In a signature Napoleon move, he masterfully split his enemies into 2 and took them on separately, knocking Sardinia out of the war and putting the Austrians on the run.
It's always interesting how in history, one single decision by one single human being changes the course of history. Imagine Napoleon would have done a strategic mistake that led to him failing in this campaign. It's crazy how, and it gives me some. I sent you a message, Fabian. It's just gonna be. Fabian said it's just gonna be. No, I don't see the message. Oh, it's just gonna be meme. I'm clicking on Fabian's message. If it's serious, I love him. If it's a dumb meme, I will unmod him. You smell like penis. Fabian. Fabian.
Famous Battle of Lodi. He was in the fray, aiming the cannons himself, getting covered in mud, and earning the total respect of his men. They respected him so much that when he ordered an almost suicidal assault on the only bridge in town, his men threw themselves at it and took it despite fear.
And that's me. I have to pause here because I'm reacting. If I just watch the video, that's stealing content. Okay, thank you, Paula, for the free man. That's what I am in Bannerlord. A good leader, it says in Sun Tzu's Art of War, leads his men. Not because you want to, but when you lead your men, they feel so connected to you. They feel loyal. They're with you. They have more moral. It's so important to lead your men. That's what I'm doing in Bannerlord. And that's why we have Cial.
For Napoleon, It was all he needed to confirm that he was the greatest human who had ever...
I foresaw what I might be already. I felt the earth flee from beneath me, as if I were being carried into the sky. The problem seems sometimes to be that certain people, like Hitler and Napoleon or whatever, thank you Lord Mold, are getting so successful that they start having a god complex, and that's where it goes downhill.
Napoleon, you're pretty great at this military stuff. Just be careful your head doesn't get too big. Yeah. What did you just say to me, you little prick? And as Napoleon swept through northern Italy, the Italians cheered his arrival. Yes, I'm here to liberate you from your cruel Austrian oppressors. And replaced them with French ones. Napoleon plundered as he went, sending riches back to France to help its economy, but also paying his men the first real money they'd seen in years. The Pope had been supporting the Austrians, so Napoleon briefly went to go give him a slap. And as he began to approach Vienna, the exhausted Austrians were forced to make peace, with Napoleon overseeing negotiations himself. He had just single-handedly knocked Austria out of the war. Damn. And by the way, he was only 28, so maybe it's about time you moved out of your dad's attic. Man. In the Italian territories he had conquered, Napoleon established new French sister republics, even writing constitutions and organizing governments himself. Not something a general generally does. When he got back to France, he was hailed as a hero, and the extremely unpopular government were concerned he might get some power-hungry ideas, so they agreed he should go far away from France to Egypt, where he could maybe undermine British access to India. Napoleon was eager to win more glory, so he brought with him a team of scholars.
Yeah, I didn't even know.
He was like, well,
I know there's a story where he abandons his men now, but he was in Egypt, man.
Whoa, it's an ugly horse.
Dude, I think about this so much. This man has seen so much in his life. He's 28 and he already went through so much stuff. He has seen so much. Dude, the normal basic white Western guy, what the fuck did you see? You saw Breaking Bad. That's what you saw. It's kind of fucking crazy what kind of life these people had, man.
Little manlet. Hey, I'm actually average height for the time. But then British Admiral Nelson came down and wrecked his fleet, and an Anglo-Ottoman force defeated him at Acre. So Napoleon abandoned his men and went back to France.
Fuck you, Napoleon.
His campaign in Egypt
he left a lot of troops behind.
But one thing you should know about Napoleon was that he was a skilled propagandist. He published his own newspapers that sometimes exaggerated his achievements, and even commissioned paintings that generally made him look cool. So when he returned to Paris, he was yet again hailed as a hero, and he began to get some
These people, they let ideas. People make paintings of them where they look better.
He had a bit of a problem to deal with. See, he had learned something shocking about his dear wife. Really, Josephine? This guy? I'm just as tall as him. I'm sorry, I swear. Now that you're becoming famous, I'll never do it again. Make sure you don't. I've never stooped so low as to cheat on you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll be in this.
That's the thing, man. That's women, man. That guy's taking over the world. What breaks his back? What fucks him up? It's the fucking woman, man. You might win all the battles, man. You can't stop her from cheating or from you.
This room consulting my generals for the next
abandon, horny, embrace epic
30 minutes. And by consulting, I mean boinking. By my generals, I mean this woman. And by 30 minutes, I mean 2 seconds.
Wait, what? What? What happened? He fucked another woman, and it was historically shown that he only lasted really short? What? That's not true. How did they know that historically? That's bullshit.
His wife. Napoleon was then approached by a very influential politician who said he had an idea. He wanted to stage a coup against the deeply unpopular government and needed the extremely popular Napoleon's help. And Napoleon thought that was just the darn tootinest idea. The plan was to trap the government and convince them to voluntarily give up their power. And here's how they did it. Hey guys, oh my gosh, quick! There's a dangerous Jacobin plot to overthrow you, which we definitely aren't just making up. Better get inside this cage so we can protect you. Okay. Gentlemen, we got him. In this case, the cage was an isolated palace outside of Paris, with no one around but Napoleon and his army. With the government inside, Napoleon then entered, and a pretty chaotic event ensued, during which the government didn't seem entirely sure what was going on, Napoleon's men didn't seem entirely sure what was going on, and Napoleon himself didn't seem entirely sure what was going on. But thankfully, Napoleon's brother Lucien, president of the lower house, managed to regain control, and the remaining councilmen were intimidated into creating a new constitution. And thus, a new government was formed, this time with 3 consuls in charge. But after Napoleon did some rewriting, in the end, there was really only one man in charge, the first consul, him. And over the next few years, he worked to consolidate even more power, and essentially became a dictator in total control of France. By the way, he was
4
only
brothers
30,
he had.
so maybe it's about time you washed your disgusting bed sheets.
He even still has, nowadays, he has descendants. There's people in France that are literally descendant to him, and some idiots want to bring them back to power, right?
France was now ruled by possibly the greatest military leader of the time. Possibly the greatest? Or definitely? Well, now is his chance to prove it. See, back when Napoleon was still in Egypt, being Indiana Jones. Back home, France was in France, being France. They had conquered even more territory, and they were like, hey Piedmont, you get revolutionary ideals. Hey Switzerland, you get revolutionary ideals. And Rome, you get revolutionary ideals. Everybody gets revolutionary ideals.
Yeah, descendants of his brothers,
nice
not himself. Okay.
And Naples, very cool nail gun. You guys here to get some revolutionary ideas? As France was still spreading the revolution, and with Napoleon busy in Egypt, the European powers felt the time was right for round 2, and the War of the Second Coalition began. And this time, their big bad boy buddy Russia was here to bang some French boys back to Bordeaux. And bang them, they did. France got blasted. But then Russia pulled out after stalling in Switzerland, and now that Napoleon was in charge of the country, he was ready to start blasting right back. He took command of the Army of the Reserve, and he brought the fight to the Austrians. Now, there are many traits that made Napoleon a great military leader. I already mentioned one of them, how he was one of the boys and commanded the total loyalty of his men. But now we see a second reason, the element of surprise. In 1800, Napoleon moved...
In a weird way, you could say, I mean, I'm not an expert, in a weird way, you could say one of the early versions of Blitzkrieg doctrines,
to Geneva, and it looked like he was probably going to take on the Austrian forces in Germany. There's no way he'd be crazy enough to move his entire army south through the Alps as a surprise attack on the Austrians besieging Genoa. Oh, Napoleon's moving his entire army south through the Alps as a surprise attack on the Austrians besieging Genoa. Napoleon's crossing of the Alps is legendary, and you may have seen one of the most famous paintings of the general, popping a sick wheelie on his majestic stallion surrounded by dangerous mountain terrain. Of course, in real life, he made the crossing on a depressed mule, but that's not as cool. When he emerged in Italy, the Austrians expected him to come break their siege, but Napoleon went for their supply line near Milan, forcing the Austrians to meet Napoleon head-on at the famous Battle of Marengo. The Austrians initially clobbered the outnumbered French, and they were like, hooray, we won. But then a few hours later, Napoleon showed up again with an even bigger army, and he clobbered them right back. Holy cow, this tiny little fun-sized French guy is running rings around us.
Hey! I'm average height for the time, you jerk!
Then, after General Moreau's victory at Hohenlinden, Vienna was exposed, and the Austrians again sued for peace. Just like the war of the First Coalition, the Second Coalition ended in another French victory. But in many ways, they both felt more like Napoleon victories. Only the UK remained at war with Napoleon, and they were using their powerful navy to blockade French ports and were even seizing the cargoes of neutral ships. Obviously, everyone else got pretty pissed off that the British were interfering with their trade. So in response, they formed
very excited when we call out America.
And they
That's gonna be
embargoed
so
the UK
sick,
right
man.
back. Neutral countries protecting their own interests? That's offensive. So Britain went to Copenhagen and blew a bunch of stuff.
Sorry, I want to be a bit educated. Who was the guy in the back? Sorry, where was I?
With their trade.
Sorry.
In response, they formed a league, and they embargoed the UK right back. Neutral countries.
Who's that? I feel like you're supposed to know who that is. Who is that? You guys are all super educated, right? That's why you're watching streamers all day. Robert Walpole. The British
protecting
king.
Their own interests.
King George III.
That's offensive. So Britain went to Copenhagen and blew a bunch of stuff up, and the league disbanded. But because the UK's economy was pretty bust, they decided to sign a treaty with France in 1802. For the first time in a long time, Europe was at peace.
This is truly a period I don't know much about.
You've achieved
It's kind of sad. I should play more
but
EU4.
not for long. I
I mean, Victoria 3 is going to bring me a little bit into the late 1800s.
What does that even mean? Keep an eye on them, would you? I can't, sire. Why not? Because they use NordVPN. How would you like to spend 12 hours a day on your favorite website ever without the fear of your data being stolen? Then you need NordVPN.
NordVPN. Didn't I actually do a NordVPN commercial like yesterday? Oh, where is that? I'm not going to show you guys. Yeah, I did a NordVPN commertal, I think yesterday. Oh shit, sorry.
Charge of the country.
TommyKay, what the fuck? TommyKay, man. TommyKay.
While interfering with their trade.
Sorry.
Interests? Yes, Pierre, but not for long. I still don't trust those dirty Brits.
Sorry.
Did you hear they've been calling me the Bony Man? What does that even mean?
I'm not skipping that. I'm reacting to his content for free, and I'm watching his ads.
Because
to
they
support
use
the guy.
NordVPN. How would you like to spend 12 hours a day on your favorite website ever without the fear
Do I
of
still
your
remember
data
lines?
being
I did a commercial yesterday for NordVPN. You will have over 5,500 servers in over 59 countries. And, oh no, that's the old one. I already deleted it. What's that? I'm gonna play a full Hoi 4 game with I'm gonna play a full Hoi 4 game with I'm gonna play a full Hoi 4 game with I'm gonna play a full Hoi 4 game with a country that you choose. This is commercials I have to make for Marconi. There's much better ones. Boys, before we go into this video, we have a little message for y'all. Yes, a sub goal is back. I got my text down.
stolen? Then you need NordVPN.
There's much more funnier shit, man.
Has thousands of secure servers
Marconi
in
must have
59
the
countries,
craziest,
allowing you to
videos.
safely surf the net at the fastest possible speed, while staying away from online threats, thanks to the anti-malware tool, CyberSec. NordVPN comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee,
Check
and now
your
you can
DMs.
take
I don't want to
advantage
check my
of their
DMs.
new password manager, NordPass,
Oh, someone
and new
just called me
encrypted
the
cloud storage
N-word.
solution.
Oh, 1 sec. I gotta report this guy. Oh no, someone is calling me the N-word in private. Whoa, Lisa, he just called me the N-word. Das ist nicht okay.
NordLocker.
Ich glaube, den seine Mutti muss mal eine klatschen. Ich mach das doch dann selber weg.
NordVPN lets you search for better deals in other territories and unlock content not available in your country, like some OverSimplified videos, for example. It's incredibly easy to use. With just a click of a button, you can head up to Canada and watch some sweet Canadian TV, just like that. Go to
in Canada, they found 200 indigenous children corpses in a Catholic school or some shit, right? That's kind of fucked. You guys hear that? There's like a school, and they found a shit ton of indigenous children corpses. And right now they are investigating it.
Go to
Looks like the school fucking killed them or some shit, or
to get a 2-year plan plus 1 additional month with a huge discount.
It's a mess.
That's nordvpn.com/oversimplified. And as always, you'll be supporting my channel.
And they have
so
200 more schools.
Now where were we?
It's very common.
Oh yeah. Crossing the Alps, defeating the Austrians, and Europe
It's an internat.
at peace. What a meteoric rise it had been for the young Corsican. He had just taken charge of a nation that appeared to be losing a war and turned it all around, securing French gains in Europe.
Pretty fucking sick, man.
There was now a big question. You see,
I just want to make a point real quick. There's something all the time. I'm sorry for doing this right now. All the time, people ask, Tommy, where is the roleplay games? Why no more roleplay games? And here's the point. Let me make a point. When I play roleplay games with you little monkeys that have 0 IQ, you take France, you kill everyone, and you annex everyone. Here's what good roleplay is. France is only taking a bit. He takes a bit of Benelux. Oh, dankeschön. Oh, bin auch gleich fertig schon. He takes a little bit. You see, he doesn't take everything. That's what I was always missing in roleplay games, man. When you win a war, you take a little bit. Like in EU4. I love the EU4 fucking peace system. You beat someone, you take a little bit. You take a little bit.
Gains in Europe.
But you fucks roleplay games always. Oh, I'm going to take the whole world. Ha!
You see,
Look at
throughout
me.
the chaotic French Revolution,
You guys
French
never created
governments had
roleplay.
struggled to keep the economy afloat. They often didn't have a whole lot of support, and they frequently came and went. Would Napoleon finally be the man who could stick around? Military victories were one thing, but could the general also govern? Spoiler alert. Yes. The economy's crumbling? Well then...
Oh fuck, I'm reacting to a video that probably gets a lot of views, and I'm eating. Everybody, shout out to Marconi. That's 1 second, Marconi. Marconi has to edit this video. It gets a lot of views on YouTube, and I'm eating. Shout out to Marconi, man. A man's gotta eat, though. Come on.
Then why don't you have yourself a new national bank, currency reform, and improved taxation and welfare systems? The legal system is an incoherent mess? Well then why don't we nicely wrap all those civil laws up into one new centralized
Actually, that's really,
legal
really good,
code?
man.
Corrupt government officials? Throw them in the trash.
What is doing that?
Bad infrastructure? Throw it in the trash. Women's rights? Throw them in the trash. Wait, really? Well, yeah, unfortunately, while Napoleon was building on the equality of the revolution, he also largely scaled back rights for certain groups, and husbands had full legal control over their wives. But come on, ladies. Maybe let men have a slice of the pie for once, okay? Napoleon further reformed education, ensuring a system based on individual ability.
Maybe Napoleon was just mad that his wife cheated on him. Oftentimes men that are anti-women are anti-women because women hurt them in their life.
Meaning now, Simeon had to compete with everyone else, and Napoleon could get the cream of the crop to help him run the Republic. But he wasn't just building on the ideas of the revolution. The revolution had led to a lot of chaos, and Napoleon needed stability. So he rolled back a couple things, most notably with religion. The revolution had pretty much kicked the Catholic Church to the curb, but Napoleon understood that since many French citizens still considered themselves Catholic, that could be a problem. So he came to an agreement with the Pope and brought back the Church, only this time with some pretty hefty power limitations. He also ensured freedom for other religions, and is often noted for his positive treatment of Jewish people at a time of widespread anti-Semitism. But while all of this may make Napoleon sound like a pretty stand-up dude, it's good to note that he believed in religious freedom because he thought it was a powerful tool to keep the poor from eating the rich, or something like that. Overall, Napoleon's aim was to end the chaos of the revolution and finally create a stable and prospering French republic. And in that aim, he seemed to be largely successful and generally popular with the people of France. He officially declared that the revolution is over, adding, "I am the revolution." Napoleon's head could be seen for miles. Of course, not everyone was happy with Napoleon's reforms. Conservatives felt he was too radical. Radicals felt he was too conservative. But since Napoleon was a dictator, opposition could usually be stamped out with some good old-fashioned iron fisting. In 1804, Napoleon took one last major step. After some failed attempts were made to assassinate him, he wanted to strengthen his position and ensure his dynasty could live on after him. And so he decided being first consul for life simply wasn't quite enough. He decided he should become emperor. He held a vote, asking the French people if they were cool with the idea, and they returned a definitely not rigged 99.9%.
What is that? The fucking election in Syria of Bashar al-Assad? What is that? The White Russian election? Haha. What is that? The last Russian election? Haha.
Favor. The balls on this man. And so on the 2nd of December, 1804, in an elaborate ceremony at Notre Dame, Napoleon was made emperor. The Pope was even invited.
I'm sorry I'm eating. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry. And here's the thing. I'm interested in history because it's so mind-blowing to me. I wish, thank you, Epidemic. I wish there was like in Assassin's Creed, there was a VR set that lets you go back in history. I would love to see this day. What was that day like in Paris? The coronation of Napoleon. What did it look like? That must have been such a sight, man. That must have been very impressive day,
normally, he would crown an emperor, but to make sure everyone knew this wasn't some Charlemagne-style circular power division, Napoleon lifted the crown and placed it on his own head. Like I said, the ball's on this man. He was now emperor
like this guy,
of
man.
the French.
He's a fucking
Napoleon,
Chad.
You were a general, then you became first consul for life, and now you're an emperor. Is it enough yet? Is your ambition finally satisfied? I don't know, Pierre. What comes after emperor? I would say God, sire. You want to be a god? Yes. I'll put it down under maybe. Okay, everyone. What the hell is going on? This Corsican guy showed up out of nowhere, and he's kicking our ass. He's exporting the ideas of the French Revolution wherever he goes, and he just declared himself King of Italy and Emperor. He can't do that. I'm the Emperor. Oh, hey, fellow monarchs. I see you're having a monarch party. My invite must have got lost in the mail. I'll just set up a spot right here. Wow. You don't belong here, Napoleon. We're coming to take you down. I'd like to see you try. Oh, I'm so scared I just pooed my pants. Hey, everyone. I just pooed my pants. No, but I did just poo my pants. Before Napoleon had even declared himself emperor, the British had already redeclared war on France because both sides had been violating their previous treaty. Napoleon immediately occupied Hanover and then began making plans for a great British invasion, partially paid for by selling a huge chunk of land to the United States. Napoleon gathered his army along...
I'm really learning so much here. That's when they sold that stuff to the USA. I mean, that's really clever. It's like in roleplay games. You can't protect it anyway. After a while, America is going to revolt and fuck you up, man. Very clever to sell that. It's like when I played roleplay games and I'm Portugal and I sell something in India. They're going to take it anyway. At least make some money out of it, you know?
But here was the problem. While Napoleon's powerful army would almost certainly obliterate the British on land, there was very little chance he'd actually make it across the Channel, because Britannia ruled the waves. This power dynamic would keep the two traditional enemies from engaging in much real direct combat throughout the Napoleonic Wars.
You can really see that it was always very important for the UK to have a big fleet, otherwise they would have been in trouble very often in history.
However, the British had something else up their sleeve.
That's how this big naval culture.
Amounts of money. They were willing to throw cash at anyone who would go to war against Napoleon, and there were plenty of takers. Austria, Russia, Naples, and Sweden, hoping to put Napoleon's France back in its place, formed the Third Coalition against France. The coalition forces probably thought that this time they stood a chance.
Each other?
They weren't prepared for the total humiliation they were about to suffer. The War of the Third Coalition was Napoleon at his best. We've already learned two ways in which Napoleon was a great military commander, but here comes one of the biggest reasons. Speed. He had reorganized his army into corps, which were themselves, basically, small armies. Each had their own infantry, cavalry, and artillery, and as a result, was able to act more independently. They spread out through the countryside, and by living off the land, rather than relying on heavy supply trains, they were able to move extremely quickly. Napoleon would traverse massive distances, outmaneuver his enemies, isolate them, and then move in for the kill.
That's fucking genius, man. Like, being the first guy to come up with this, man, that's very impressive, man. Wow. That is... Wow. I want to say, that's really something,
Where they even knew what was going on.
Jesus.
Lightning warfare leading to total destruction. Would you like to see him do it? Here we go. Part of the coalition's plan was for the Russians to meet up with the Austrians and take on Napoleon together. Combined, they could turn the tide against him, so Napoleon needed to stop them from ever meeting. But he's all the way over in Boulogne. No problem. In a matter of weeks, Napoleon marched 200,000 men, in secret, encircling Austrian General Mack and capturing his entire army. A devastating blow. Napoleon later remarked, "I have destroyed the Austrian army by simply marching."
And yet, this quote sounds so comedic, but it's so true. Modern warfare, as shown by Napoleon, is quickness, right? We see it in World War II. It's about being mobile, and he was really ahead of his time, it seems. Wow.
Next, he turned to face the approaching Russians. Okay, it looks like the French are coming for us, but check this out. I've got an amazing idea. When they approach, we run away. Sir, you're a genius. The Russians began to retreat with Napoleon giving chase, and since his tactics relied on quick victories, this could be a problem, especially because the longer the war went on, the more likely it looked other countries may join the coalition against him. But Napoleon knew the Russian Tsar, Alexander I, was young and seeking glory, so he came up with an idea to lure him in. He sent him a message. What does it say? It says, "Hello, I'm just a little baby boy, and I'm very scared." Are you talking like that, or is he? He is, sir. Why is he doing that? I don't know, but it's very cute, helpless, and vulnerable. A little baby boy, eh? Very scared, eh? Cute, eh? Boris, get my crossbow. We're going hunting. The Allied forces turned to face Napoleon, who they now believed was in a vulnerable position. He was set up at Austerlitz, and to make it look like he was retreating, he had even evacuated the high ground. A thick fog set in, obscuring Napoleon's center, as the Allies took the bait and set up on the heights. From there,
he gave them the hill and still won? I have to try it in Bannerlord.
They spotted Napoleon's very weak-looking right flank, and they descended the heights to go get it. Little did they know, it was exactly what Napoleon was hoping they'd do.
I'm actually really
The next
impressed,
thing they knew, a large French force was emerging from the fog, launching a huge central assault up the hill. They swung around, crushing the Allies, and as men attempted to flee across the frozen lakes, Napoleon ordered his artillery to fire on the ice, causing an unknown number to drown.
Wow.
But he told me he was just a little baby boy. What happened? He tricked you, sir. You mean I was the little baby boy all along?
That's some fucking White Walker shit, man. You're walking up the hill, oh, we got this, man, and then you see the fog. How did Napoleon know about the fog, man? If there wasn't any fog, they would have gotten shut downstairs. And then you see a bunch of French dudes coming up to you, man. That's some scary fucking shit.
It was Napoleon's masterpiece, and Austria were once again forced to make peace with France. Then, with the French conquest of Naples in 1806, the War of the Third Coalition ended as yet another Napoleon victory. This was the third time Napoleon had to give Austrian Emperor Francis a good spanking. And so, with the peace treaty in 1805, Napoleon was determined to punish him. He was forced to give up territory, hand over significant compensation, and promised never to fight Napoleon again. For now, Russia, Sweden, and the UK remained at war with France, but none were able to offer much of a threat. And so, Napoleon got to work strengthening his grip over Europe. He gave out rule of captured territories to his family and friends, and most notably, he established a new confederation in Germany, with himself as its protector. Seeing his influence in Germany being wiped away, Emperor Francis acknowledged reality and officially dissolved the Holy Roman Empire. And
is this the end of the Holy Roman Empire? I'm learning so much, man. Is that the official end of the HRE? Damn.
That it existed for over 1,000 years. But it wasn't all good news for Napoleon. For one thing, Spain had earlier allied with France in 1804 because the British just couldn't help themselves from blowing up Spanish ships, and Napoleon hoped a combined French-Spanish fleet would eventually be able to invade England. Unfortunately, he received word that British Admiral Nelson had engaged his fleet at Trafalgar. Normally...
I heard of that. Dude, again, I know nothing about this. There's like these epic pictures about it, man. Looks so sick, dude. I love these. Is that weird? I like these pictures. These pictures are... Look at this picture. I would hang this in my living room. Is that awkward? I love these pictures. I think just... This picture is insane, man. Wow. Damn. Jesus. Is there movies about this? Battle of Trafalgar? I heard about this before, but it's the first time I actually understand what it is. That must have been a huge battle, man.
But in this case...
And again, I know it sounds really weird, but I wish we could go back in time as a ghostly observer and watch this. What a sight that must have been. It's unimaginable for our brains. Imagine all these ships fighting each other. It doesn't go into my brain, you know what I mean?
Nelson,
that must have been mind-blowing.
Was it because he was an idiot? No. It's because he was a genius. He successfully punched through the Franco-Spanish line and unleashed hell.
Don't you get it?
His victory ensured British control of the
historical
sea,
events, that must be
during the battle
mind-blowing.
Made him a legend. Napoleon's hopes for a future British invasion were gone. But not just that. Napoleon was also hoping to secure peace on the continent, but that wasn't looking likely because the Prussian king was under pressure from his wife. Frederick, he's established a confederation in our turf, and he told us he'd give us Hanover, but then offered it to the British. You have to declare war on him. What is it with you and war? What is it with you and being a cupcake? Go to war!
Watched it. I missed something? What did I miss?
He was a genius.
Sorry.
He successfully punched through the Franco-Spanish line and unleashed hell. His victory ensured British control of the sea, and his death during the battle made him a legend.
Oh, he died? What is his name? Damn. I want to read about him tonight. What is his name? Sorry. What is his name? Damn, what a mad lad. The guy actually kind of defended the UK. Horatio Nelson. Damn, what a fucking mad lad. First Viscount Nelson. Damn, look at that guy. What a fucking... Jesus Christ, look at that dude. When this guy walks in the room, you shut the fuck up. Oh, I want to read about him tonight. I'm going to read about him in bed. Horatio Nelson. So his tactics kind of saved the UK in a way. Damn.
Napoleon's hopes for a future British invasion
He's the most famous admiral in all of history.
Napoleon was also hoping to secure peace on the continent.
But that wasn't
looking likely because the Prussian king was under pressure from his wife.
He had no iron arm, like
he's established a confederation in our turf, and he told us he'd give us Hanover, but then offered it...
How is no one making movies about people like this? Is there a movie about this Horatio guy? Like, fuck, man.
To the British, you have to declare war on him. What is it with you and war? What is it with you and being a cupcake? Go to war! Okay. In October 1806, Prussia, with its famed military tradition, joined the coalition and declared war, beginning the War of the Fourth Coalition. Unfortunately, Prussian King Frederick William III wasn't the smartest tool in the shed. Look at him over there, being all French. Makes me sick. Boys, we'll get him this time. But here's the thing. This time, we have to stick together. Do not under any circumstances face Napoleon by yourself. You all saw what happened to Austria... Hey, where'd Fred go? Hey, you jerk. Think you're some kind of big shot? Huh? Want to tangle with Fred? You don't got the cojones. We're screwed. Without consulting its allies, Prussia had gone ahead and sent Napoleon an ultimatum, demanding he move all his forces out of Germany. Now, some of you watching this video probably can't even wipe your own bum yet, but even you know, you don't just send Napoleon an ultimatum. Obviously, Napoleon went in for the kill. Prussia's army was quite outdated, so when they met
I just want to say, please remind me tomorrow to react to a video about the Battle of Trafalgar. I'm very interested in that. That sounds insane. Remind me tomorrow,
Napoleon
please.
at the twin battles of Vienna and Auerstedt, it wasn't even close. Even Marshal Davout's heavily outnumbered corps at Auerstedt sent the Prussians running, and Napoleon carried out a ruthless pursuit of his fleeing enemy, taking Berlin, and within a single month, decimating the Prussian
Dude, this
forces.
guy just wrecked everybody
Frederick William
for years.
and the remnants of his army moved to the east.
Oh,
At
this is
point,
where it goes wrong.
Napoleon's forces were pretty tired.
Wrong.
Winter had come, and conditions were miserable. He anticipated both sides would settle into winter quarters, but Russia decided to try their hand at an unexpected winter attack. A series of brutal battles followed that took a heavy toll on both sides.
Should have not gotten in there, man. You don't fucking touch Russia, man.
Blizzard conditions, men froze to death, and many deserted. The Russian artillery tore the French to shreds.
Yeah,
and
you don't go to Russia, man.
was momentarily under risk of being captured. In the end,
and I sometimes wonder if I could bring Hitler back from death and Hitler sits here, I'd be like, Hitler, like just without any, it's just about the question. Didn't you ever consider attacking Russia as a really dumb idea? Did you not hear about Napoleon and shit? I wonder what he will say.
Thanks to a legendary cavalry charge by Napoleon's flamboyant cavalry commander, Murat. After the horror
and in the end, he was just,
on both sides, they decided it might
he felt
be
too good about
not to
himself
do
and
any
his
more fighting until after winter. Then, after winter came, and the fighting continued. The Russians were pushed back to Friedland, where Russian General
he would say, I fought and people went very fast. That's what he would say,
himself with the Aller River to his back. The French artillery were able to pin the Russians between the river and their concentrated gunfire, a major element in Napoleon's fighting style, and many Russians drowned as they tried to escape. War of the Fourth Coalition.
How many fucking people died because of Napoleon, man? Jesus. That's enough for today, guys, though. I want to call it early. I want to chill with Lisa. We're watching the next part tomorrow.